during the day, but let's get after it here. So first question that came in, what is TRESA that everybody talks about? Yeah, great question. So the Trust in Real Estate Services Act, it's a revamp for the consumer protection legislation. And basically it's legislation that governs how realtors can trade in real estate in the province of Ontario. Today, which is December 1st, they've initiated phase 2, which does bring about 2 or 3 major changes to the old system. So the first one, something that, first of all, for offers that come in, so now the sellers have the choice where they can either do a blind offer, like how it was before, where we're not allowed to reveal any details about the offers that are in, or the seller can choose to reveal some or all or different portions of the offers should they choose. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And also, I think, hold on, the volume's a little loud there. Be interesting to see how that plays out and what that's going to look like moving forward. And if sellers prefer the old way or the new way. Also, we're seeing open offers on realtor.ca should the agent and the seller use those tools, which are, I guess, on beta launch right now, to my understanding. It will be coming to realtor.ca sooner or later, and I'm sure multiple platforms will be coming out as well. That's change number 1. Number 2 is the type of agency. So now we need to provide a full, it's called a RECO information guide. You could find it on RECO if you Google that, RECO information guide. It will pop up right away. You could download it. It's a 12-page booklet. And basically it talks about agency and what a realtor owes to a client. And the other element of it is we used to have a customer service agreement option instead of being a client. And under customer service, we could do certain things, but we're still limited. However, under the new guidelines, there's only either a client or a self-represented party. So you either represent yourself totally, or if you're looking for services from a realtor, then you get the client services, which owes a whole, all the usual stuff, being a client, of course, fiduciary duty and honesty and things like that. So really important that to know the difference between being totally self-represented or working with a realtor in a client format. So definitely important there. The third change is agencies. So previously, for example, and this is a great example, is that in our office, we have about 1,500 realtors amongst the entire office. And even though I'm working downtown and we have an office at, for example, Don Mills, if I have a listing and an agent from Don Mills who maybe I've never even met before brought a buyer to one of my listings and wanted to make an offer, in the past, basically from yesterday and beyond, that would become multiple representation. And multiple representation does make a difference in how we can represent each of our clients. Even though we've never met before, it's still, the agreements are with the brokerage. So now the new change is designated representation, which is effectively is that the brokerage could have a designated representative for client number 1. So for example, if I have the listing, if I'm working with the sellers, then the sellers are designated to me within the brokerage. And then the buyer agent is designated to the buyers, and they can work with that client as their buyers, of course, and with their client rules and things like that. So definitely, I think it's a great change, to be honest. I think it's if you build the trust with your clients and then you're designated to protect their information, each party can represent each other's clients properly, as they should in that scenario. So that's the 3 changes. Super important moving forward, and it'll be interesting to see how the open offer thing plays out. Just working on logistics of that, because it's literally fresh as of, I guess, midnight today. So this past midnight. Next question: when is an optimal time to buy a home? So that's an interesting question. I always think the best time to buy is when that time it works for that client. I really believe in that. I don't think there's ever I don't think there's ever a right or wrong time to buy. It just depends on the specific client and what they're looking for. So that being said, there are different times in the year that are generally maybe less competitive than others. For example, we're heading into December. It's snowing outside. It's dark outside. It's cold outside. You might not see as many listings on the market right now, though. There are a lot more listings on the market. And that being said, maybe you might not see as many buyers out there competing on properties. For example, or just another reason is that generally people don't really like to move in the winter as a whole, but that could present opportunity for buyers looking in the market right now that are out there actively looking and know a deal when it comes up, because that's important too. When you're actively looking for property, you'll know when something becomes a good deal based on what's happening around in the other properties that you're seeing as well. So I wouldn't say, I don't think there's ever an optimal time to buy a home. That being said, generally December is a quieter time when doing your search. It might present a challenge for properties compared to what we would expect to see in the springtime. However, it could pose great opportunities for buyers. But again, the time is right when the time is right for you. That's number one. Cheaper to lease or purchase. Okay, I think we've covered this one a good amount of times, but payment-wise, definitely cheaper to lease. Let's be real. If a one-bedroom condo right now is going for about $2,600 a month on average for rent, to own that same property, you're probably looking around $3,500 a month, depending on down payment, of course, to own. However, on the buy side, you do have the potential equity over time, whereas on the lease side, essentially, if your payments are going up by 2.5% or more, depending on when the building was built, then you don't have the equity aspect of it. So, for example, if a condo goes up even 2 or 3% over a year, or even 1%, that could make up the difference of what you're paying in rent versus what you're paying in lease, for example. So something to consider. It definitely, I guess, on a payment perspective, would be cheaper to lease, but in the long term, if you factor in the appreciation, the equity over time, the purchase could come out ahead in that scenario, especially as the lease prices have been going up by 5 to 10% a year in the last couple of years anyway. If it's pre-November 15, 2018, can only go up by 2.5% a year, so something to consider. That's it. Live Q&A. Hope you enjoyed it. TRESA video on the way. Lots more YouTube stuff on the way. Really trying to keep pushing the envelope when it comes to more and more videos for more and more people watching, subscribers like you. So go ahead, subscribe down below. Trying to get to 1,000 by the end of the year. I got a month to do it. I wonder if I could. That'd be pretty cool. So anyway, have an awesome December. Here we are, last month of the year.